Welcome to Heal the World Show podcast, brought to you by the Healing Institute. The Healing Institute is a worldwide online platform of holistic practitioners, and we are out to make a difference on health and healing in the world. All of our practitioners get to the root cause of what's going on with you. We've had a medical model for 50 plus years that really isn't working anymore. And the reason for it is, I believe, is because they only looked at symptoms. They didn't look at what was causing those symptoms. And so our practitioners do that. So the QR code that you see behind me, you can certainly scan that, and that takes you right to the website, and then you can connect with the practitioners. I've been using holistic ways of being healthy for well over 30 years, so I know that it works. And that's what I'm so excited about. When I created the Healing Institute, I created it and called it an institute because I'm passionate about educating people about how to be well and how to stay well. We're all on a health journey, so let's make it a proactive health journey. And we did have a tragedy in our family a few years ago. My mother passed away at a young age. She was only 61, and it was due to a complication because she'd been on a medication for a very long time. And not once did the doctor ever mention to her that it could compromise her kidneys. So unfortunately, her kidneys were failed. It was on the 15th of December. It was right before Christmas. I was 5 months pregnant with my son. And I say it's not only a tragedy that she died at a young age, but my children did not get to meet their grandmother. And I don't want that happening for other families. So that's why I'm really passionate about health and healing and holistic ways of being well and staying well. And so then I created the Healing Institute podcast, Heal the World. And I am now inviting different practitioners to come and talk about their area of expertise. This is our 119th episode. I just can't believe that. I've been doing this for almost 2.5 years. And so I decided, because it's February, I decided we were going to have the theme of it being the love month. And I met Zabney Love a few weeks ago, which was just perfect for February, the love month. And so you're going to meet Zabney today. She's a Reiki practitioner, and we're going to talk today about trusting yourself and activating your intuition for this theme of February, the love month. Welcome, Zabney. It's just so wonderful to have you here today. I'm so delighted that you were able to hop on the podcast.
Thank you so much, Familia. It's such a blessing to be here and honored to share my story and what I do in the world and how we're healing the world together. So thanks
Yes.
for having me.
Yes, it does take a village and a world for us all to be working together for that cause. Absolutely. So yeah, so tell us a little bit about your background and how you became a Reiki practitioner, and the work that you're doing.
Yes, thank you. So I feel that my calling, I didn't know that Reiki was my gift to the world. I just knew that my hands had received this gift when I was 19 years old. I was in a youth camp at church, and I grew up in a Christian evangelical church where we believe that the presence of God, you know, fills you, your spirit, and gives you discernment, gives guidance, and which is our higher self, activating our
Yes,
higher self,
always.
higher self. I didn't know
Absolutely.
that until later on. And so at 19, I remember praying in this youth event, and I felt like the Holy Spirit and my higher self was, are you ready to go to the next level? Are you ready to receive? And it was just like this question, are you ready to like step forward in your gift? And I just knew, I was like, yes, I'm ready to serve. My heart's ready to give. All I could hear was yes, yes. And immediately I felt like in my hands this fire, like not
Hmm.
burning fire, but like this like chi energy just
Hmm. Like
running
a
through.
vibration?
Yeah, yeah, I
Whoa,
felt
how
like
cool.
vibration,
Mm.
and I knew it was powerful, and it was not just my thoughts because I felt it wholly,
Mhm.
like H WHOLLY, like
Yeah, yeah.
entirely. And I started sobbing and crying and feeling like I'm ready to serve. And shortly after that, as I would do like altar ministry in my church, which meant
Hmm.
going and just offering prayer for laying on hands to pray for people, I would start noticing certain things like the person's weight, like not their weight, physical weight, but like an emotional weight would
Emotional
come
weight.
over.
Hmm.
I felt like 20 pounds was on my back or 50 pounds. And I was like, whoa, I don't know what that means, God, but here we give it to you. We're not taking that. I'm just here kind of like lifting off that backpack that they're carrying. It's a weight of some sort. And that's where it started. And
Hmm.
it just evolved over time as I, served in church to now where I found myself in a place where I was like spiritually broken, emotionally broken, financially broken as I was divorcing. And um, it was in that season, the last few years, that I really knew that my breakdown was actually my breakthrough.
True.
And
Yes. Isn't that is so true so often.
yes, and I didn't see it like that. When you're in the pain and the suffering,
No,
you
that's
don't
right.
see the gift that's unfolding before you. And in that, I knew I'm like, I don't know what it is, but I'm supposed to start my business. I'm supposed to be working with people. And so at the time I was doing massage, I was offering because I was trying to juggle being a single parent and
Mhm.
I didn't have babysitting, so I had to make my own schedule. So that's when I went into work for myself. And I just developed this like a community of friends and family that trusted me to go to their homes to do just massage because I didn't want to go back to school. I already had my psychology degree and I didn't want to go that route. I just felt like I'm supposed to be doing hands-on work. And one day I went to a women's event where they were having a women's circle, discovering your authentic voice, and they had a room for rent. It was at a urban wellness, and I immediately knew when I saw the room for rent and it said life coaching and massage and Reiki, and I didn't know that Reiki was my gift. I just knew that I'm like, I'm supposed to be here. Something in me was like, I'm supposed to start my practice here. And sure enough, that's where I transferred from mobile services to a location. I lost, of course, all my clients because nobody wanted to drive downtown. Everyone was comfortable in their homes, but that's okay. I just said, this is where I'm supposed to be. And it's brought me to where I'm at now. And I feel so honored to be able to do this work because it truly is a gift. And we all have
That's
our gift.
beautiful.
We all have it.
Yeah, that's just such a beautiful, beautiful story. I think sometimes that's where our gifts shine is when we are having those times in our life where we're like, this is not a whole lot of fun. I don't know why. Because I have a similar story where I knew I always was very intuitive. I didn't know that word. I didn't know how to describe it.
Hmm.
But I was searching when my marriage was breaking up, and I was looking and searching, and I found a woman who I call my energy teacher. And she was the one who taught me about vibration and taught me about the the energy that we have and our electromagnetic field and all and our auras and our chakras and all of that. And I knew intuitively that in order for me to heal, I had to go inside. I had to heal from the inside out. And that sounds like very much that your journey. That's exactly what you were doing. So
Yes.
let's talk a little bit about trusting yourself and activating your intuition. I didn't even know I had intuition. I mean, I was always kind of aware and very sensitive. That's what I say. I got in trouble for being sensitive and for asking questions, and now those are my gifts. Um, and so when I finally was able to put a name to my knowing, just knowing, that's what I used to call it. When I finally was able to put the name of intuition to it, that just made perfect sense. And then also just to tap into it, realize that I could tap into it, that I could develop it. It wasn't just who I was. It was So I met another wonderful woman who's in Australia, and I took her 9-week course on tapping into my intuition just so that I could feel really confident that when something came up, that it was telling, it was the truth of what it was telling me. And of course, learned about muscle testing and and how pendulums work and learning all about how that kind of energy works, so that I could continue, and then went on to learn other kinds of modalities so that I can be of service, because that's really what that's why I'm here. I'm here to be of service. So so tell me how you got did you always know you had intuition? Did you?
So it's so important to even explain like what exactly is intuition.
Hmm.
A lot of people are
Hmm.
like, how do you even describe it? And my best way personally is like this feeling on your body, in your skin, and in your gut that prompts you to make a decision without thinking. It's like completely our gut is actually our greatest memory holder. Our bodies hold through our sacral chakra and our root chakra, which is one of the energy centers, and it's like a magnet. It like receives, and if
Hmm.
we're not learning to clear it out, then it gets blurry and fussy, and then we don't hear our intuition. So being able to understand first, how do I listen to my body? Like if my body's talking to me, yeah, you're having that back pain, you're having that gut like sharp pain, shoulder pain. Like these pains are not just ailments for no reason. They're actually our bodies talking to us. So intuition
Totally.
is
I
just
completely believe that. Absolutely.
our
Yeah.
intuition is just a language that our body is communicating with us. And so just like any language, if you don't speak it, you're not going to understand it. So it takes a level of artistry, of connection, of a continuous developing patterns by even just, okay, how do I identify this? And you can learn it through books, probably. You can learn it through here, podcasts, but the main way that you will learn what is your is actually asking yourself, okay, self, what are you trying to tell me right now? Because your self knows and they'll answer if you're willing to listen. So for me, that I didn't even know that intuition was a thing. Intuitive, like you said, what's an intuitive? Like, well, we first of all are. It's just we're not all activated or we're not all connected because we don't know or we haven't learned to translate the language. For me, it was a continuous just prayer life, talking to God, like, okay, God, this is happening. Like, what do I do? Like, growing up as a pastor's daughter, I was blessed to have that nurturing really young to listen to God's voice, whether it was through scripture or whether it was through messages or, just sitting still and letting that voice, internal voice. So it can get a little sticky when our intuition is not, when we're not healthy, like when we're dealing with
Hmm.
trauma, because we're not listening maybe to the intuition of that's the higher self that's trying to communicate. We're listening to the trauma. So that's where it's really important to identify, okay, my listening, my gut feeling that's coming from a place of trauma right now, or a place of really higher power that's trying to redirect me. So overall, it's a language. It takes some building and
It's like any language. You have to
yes,
learn. You have to learn, and you have to learn how your intuition is relating to you
yes,
personally, because everybody's going to be slightly different. So I
yes.
love the way you explained about the chakras, and how, and I 100% agree that yes, it is our bodies that's telling us. And then, of course, when I was studying the chakras and then understanding about the third eye, which is our pineal gland, but is also, our crown chakra obviously is on, and that's where our divinity we comes into our being and our bodies, and also then looking at our third eye as part of how we can process our intuition.
Yes. Yes. And it takes a level of, well, first, belief
Mhm.
from where I come from in the religious programming that I came up in, all these things were not taught. They were foreign. So because it was foreign and not taught, it was considered wrong
Oh, yes,
automatically
right.
because people fear what they don't
Yes,
know.
what they
That's
don't
just
know.
the
Yeah.
truth.
Hmm.
They judge what they don't know. And me being this brave, curious, I don't care, I'm gonna figure this out because I have way too
I
much
love that.
anxiety. And
Wonderful.
it was just anxiety for me. It started off as like I have this anxiety. Oh, I don't know what to do with this. Like I can't live with this anxiety, and there's no way I'm going to take pharmaceutical painkillers. I never even like to take Tylenol. I always love the essential oils and natural stuff. So it was really paying attention to that. The anxiety was a form of like poking, like there's something here. It doesn't feel right. I need to lean in. So I would lean in. Okay, well, what are these things? What is this communicating? And outside of the teaching of scripture, what else can I learn? Because it's science and scripture
Hmm.
doesn't always get into science. So I started, and with the psychology degree, the neuroscience, all of that, it opened my understanding that, oh, wow, there are spiritual centers. We all have them. But why is the church not talking about this? And so I don't know if I'm going on a tangent here, but
No, no, I'm relating to it completely because I was raised in a faith-based church and family, and grew up with knowing the Bible, knowing all the stories and everything. And then that was fine until I started to ask questions about, okay, why did that happen? Um, but I found when I was learning about the science of how things work, it made my faith stronger. It made my spirituality stronger because I could understand why spiritually that happened was because of the science. I remember a few years back we had a conference here on Vancouver Island in Canada, where I live, called the Science and Spirituality Conference, and I was so excited to go to it because there was some wonderful people that I would read their books, and I was so excited to be able to meet them in person. And I was saying to somebody one day, oh, I'm so excited this weekend. I'm going to the Science and Spirituality Conference. And they looked at me and they said, isn't that a misnomer? And I'm like, no, it goes together perfectly, science and spirituality. Yeah.
it is. It's so beautiful too when you discover some of this stuff. You're like, oh, that's how it works. Like
Yeah.
we're all
Yeah.
energy. Our electromagnetic field is polluted because all the the negative programming we're listening to. Oh, so I could change that by not listening to certain things, by not going to certain places. And for me, it was just breakthrough after breakthrough because I was giving myself that permission to go
Yes.
deep
Yeah.
and study it. And
Absolutely.
I understand a lot of ways why some religious organizations and churches don't want young people to go to colleges because they're understanding it's open. And unfortunately some they lose their way, whatever that means, or they
Mhm.
find their way. That was some fears that I heard growing up, but thankfully my parents, growing up, pastors' kids were high in education. Like they're like all
Yeah.
about education. You're not gonna, you get your degree and that kind of level of search higher. We came from a foreign country where education was, you were lucky if you had opportunity to go to school. Here in America, this is part of the dream life. Go get educated and grow, just expand. So we grew up in a very nurturing home where education was welcome. So when I would dabble into some of these things, I always felt like certain boundaries with respecting going too deep into energy work. I didn't even know energy work was a thing until after like I said, I was having my breakdowns of when what is considered, I guess, sinning for breaking the rules of the church. Being divorced was one of those. You broke the rules. Getting pregnant out of wedlock, you broke the rules. And it's amazing how when you break these rules of programming is where your understanding really actually opens up.
It totally opens up. Yeah, completely opens up.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, the learning of, why we are here and what we're meant to do. We're not just, I say, we're not um human doings, we're human beings.
Being.
And so it's so important to know why you're here. And that was always a question that I was curious about. I was always, okay, why am I this person? Why was I born into this family? Why was I named this name? Those were always questions. My parents they were just overwhelmed with all the questions that I was always asking from a very, very young age. But I was always very curious as to the why and the where of it. And I think that certainly helps us as people that are wanting to serve in the world and wanting to be healers and wanting to take our healing modalities um, out into the world and also uh, and so that we can see the difference that it makes when we are working with our patients and our clients because it makes a huge difference. One of the modalities, my main modality is the body code and the emotion code. And that's where I really needed my intuition and I was tapping into it. And that's when I met at this Science and Spirituality Conference, this wonderful woman from Australia who actually had the course. And so I thought, okay, well, I really need to know my intuition. I don't want to second guess it. And so that's the other thing. Divine timing is always, I love the way things fall into place, right?
Yes.
They show up when you need them.
Yes.
And all we have to do is ask, oh, by the way,
And
I
I don't know
really would
why
like to
we
know about this.
like why do we complicate it? It actually is not that hard. It's
It's
just
not.
it's all the trauma and the old limiting beliefs that are blocked up that keep us from asking. Because sometimes like I recently uncovered some blocks about asking. Like, why is it so hard for me to really ask what I want? And I did some inner work, and what that would look like was obviously just I talk to myself. I do some mirror work. I'll look in the mirror. I'm like, okay, Zabdi, this has been a block for a while, and thank you that you're bringing it to my awareness.
Mhm.
Where exactly is it coming from? Like, okay, and I start just tapping and then I let it go. I ask myself and let it go. And then later on it comes through a dream or through I hear a story, someone else says something or a message on the billboard somewhere. It's just like, oh my gosh, that's what happened. Like, I get it. And one of the biggest reasons why I felt like I was not receiving was because I had an experience growing up. We grew up very like I don't want to say poor because we had what we needed. We always had our
Mhm.
basic needs covered. It was just obviously not luxurious and options. Like the memory that came to mind, I went to we were at a Salvation Army, I think it was, looking for winter clothes because we lived in Canada too. We were missionaries out there. My dad was a missionary, and I was about probably 5 or 6 years old when I had this memory. We were in a Salvation Army, and I was looking for these gloves, and I was missing a pair. And I just remember my mom had 6 kids, so we were all looking. They're like 25 cents, 10 cents for
Mhm.
clothing items, and it was that memory that came to me was like, oh, I feel like it's too hard to have new things because
Mhm.
my programming at that memory was my core memory was it's
Mhm.
hard to find what I really want because I couldn't find that pair of gloves and everything was like just used. So I rewired myself to think, okay, go back to that story. Imagine as if someone was walking in with this brand new cute furry coat that's just for a cute little girl with fluffy gloves, like just rewire that moment and see
Mhm.
it like if it was um a new you just recreated the story in your head so that you actually can receive and it is safe to receive and it's easy to receive and you can ask. So now things turn around for me to be like, oh yeah, can don't forget I need, like the other day, I need some new headphones. These are old and breaking apart. And then shortly after that, a friend just like, hey, I don't need these anymore. You want these or something, some similar like that. It's just been manifesting because I'm being open to be like, don't forget, I need this, or I want to connect with this person, and just being okay with asking.
Well, and asking is so important. One of my memories as a child was that I wasn't allowed to ask because that was rude. I was being, if I wanted something, I couldn't ask for it. And even at a very young age, I used to think, well, how are they going to know if I don't ask? But it was considered to be rude. And I know where my mom was coming from. She wanted me to be a polite, little girl. And she didn't want to have a rude daughter. She wanted me to be polite. But it's interesting how at those young ages, those block us. Because I've had I worked through that issue of asking a number of years ago, but it was like a aha moment when I realized, well, I'm not getting what I want because I'm not asking. So nobody is going to know.
So
How's anybody
true.
going to know what I really want if I don't ask, right?
So, so true. It's so, and it comes with the level of courage, right? Because
Mhm,
it's like
mhm.
courage is of the heart. So if your heart's jumping and you're like, I really need to do this, or I really want to ask, like, but I'm so scared to ask. It's like break that moment.
Yeah,
Just break it. Go do it. Ask, and then whatever happens, just trust that the fact that you took the courage to even ask, like that's a win in itself. Even if you don't get
totally.
it for whatever reason, it didn't happen or you didn't get that, okay, don't be afraid to try again because it is a practice.
Well, and I think that's part of our subject today about trusting ourselves, right?
Yes.
Trust
Yes.
yourselves, trust yourself. And when you have those aha moments and your intuition is saying, patting you on the shoulder, saying, you got to ask for this now. That's really, really, really important for us to keep track of what's going on in our bodies, listen to our bodies. Don't ignore that,
Yes.
because those are signs and those are messages.
Yes.
And
I gotta say this about the whole body and listening to your body and trusting yourself because I've heard several clients and friends will ask like, how do you trust yourself? Like, I don't even know that I'm really trusting myself. And it's such a it could be difficult if
mhm,
year
mhm.
after year you've ignored your basic needs, some basic needs including just having someone to listen to you.
Yeah,
As a
yeah,
child, maybe you didn't have that moment, that time. I'm growing up with six kids, my parents hardly ever really just did one-on-one, very few times. But being able to feel heard is a basic need. Being able to express yourself, that's a basic need. It's
absolutely.
self-care.
Yeah, yeah,
It's a form of
absolutely.
self-care. And because we don't practice or we're not growing up in a society that's continuously, hey, take care of yourself first, take care of yourself, feed yourself first, fill your cup, don't go serve from an empty cup. And being, servers and supporters and lovers of life and generous human beings that we are, like you and I, right? We sometimes tend to, or maybe I shouldn't speak for anyone else but me. I I realized I was serving from the bottom of the barrel, like giving the
Mhm.
last, and I was like, why? No, I need to go refill my cup and listen to my body. My body's saying I'm tired. Why am I still pushing myself? And if we're not actively stopping to really listen to what our basic needs are, our body's not going to trust us. Our body's like, well, why should I really tell
Yeah.
you how
Yeah,
I
I've been
feel?
tapping her on the shoulder. Now I'm going to hit her up the side of the head with a 2x4. Maybe she'll get the message then, which often
Yeah,
is
and
what's happening when we don't listen to our bodies, we create what I call dis-ease.
yes.
And we know what that can turn into. And our bodies are going to keep tapping us and letting us know that they're not happy and they're not healthy until we get the message. And oftentimes that is something physically serious before we'll actually listen.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I just love everything that you're saying. It's so important for us to listen to our bodies and
It's
and to make
and
sure
it's
that we're we're understanding. And if we don't understand, we need
yeah,
to do our research or we need to ask questions. We need to talk to somebody about
yes,
why is this happening or why do I feel like this?
yes. And the pausing really helps. Like be still. Like that was
Hmm.
when I started to actually practice stillness, not just meditation, but literally just don't do nothing, Zabdi. Don't put anything in your calendar today and let's see what happens. Like I didn't always have those free moments because as a single parent and working, starting a business, it's like who has time to rest?
Yeah.
Like we're going. But it was in the learning how to slow down and let my nervous system actually feel safe. My calming the parasympathetic nervous system is just like be able to be still. in those moments is where I was able to start to like actually listen that my body is saying something, and that's where that language, that connection gets strengthens. It's like you're going
Yes.
from kindergarten to first grade on understanding yourself and
Yeah.
trusting yourself. Because it was like, oh yes, Abdi, you trusted yourself, you rested, or you didn't go to this, you said no, you didn't feel like you had to be somewhere, or you didn't have to people please. And in that practice, it was like the next level of listening to yourself came through. So it's the
And that's, yeah.
little things like did like sometimes even just holding your pee, like you're in a meeting and you're holding, you're like, just speak up. I gotta go to the restroom. Like it's just silly for me. That was one thing I noticed. I just always on the go and holding my pee, like my urine. I'm like, why? That was such a bad habit. And I'm like, those are the little things I'm talking about when you're not taking care of even stopping to have lunch breaks. Like some people don't
Yeah.
even have lunch break. They just chew some sort of quick snack in between. Like, no, don't do that. That's disrespecting yourself. And if you're disrespecting yourself, guess what? Your body's gonna come back, like with what you said, a disease, an ailment, or a slap in the face. This is happening now. Are you ready to listen now?
Yeah.
Okay, now you're forced, like why people get sick, they have the flu. Now you really can't do nothing. Your body is literally telling
Yeah.
you, we're gonna lay down. We can't do, we just drew ourselves to the floor and we can't go forward. So now we're making you sick and now you'll listen.
Now you
So,
listen. Yeah. I know. Well, and that's it's a practice as well to be still. And
yes,
I think too many times, our conditioning as societies is that we have to be always moving and we have to always be doing something and we have to, because that's us being productive. So that's being a
yes,
good citizen or a good person because you're productive. But it doesn't help us as individuals.
yeah,
And really, it's important to put those practices into place. I've been doing that for many, many years, doing my yoga meditation in the morning. Um, and I'm, of course, a miracle student, so I read that in the morning. I get up earlier because I need that time. But it's worth it for me because that's sort of my grounding. That's how can start my day. And then I end my day with my gratitude journal.
beautiful.
And that's, it's very important to have, I believe it's very, very important to have those kinds of practices in your life,
Yes, yes,
to keep you, and keep me, to keep
yes,
me, feeling that I'm doing what I should be doing for myself. And that was
yes.
a big lesson for me to learn because I wasn't, as we mentioned earlier, I wasn't really encouraged as a child to do anything for myself because that was considered being selfish and self-centered, and
Yes.
now I say self-care.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. It is. It's self-care. It's the art of self-care. It's answering the call that your body's. And once you're familiar with the body, if you can listen to your body, then the spirit, this is where now the mind, body,
Yes.
soul, right? Because emotionally, you're paying attention to your body, you're listening to your emotions. And then mentally, like if you're starting to get anxious thoughts, like, what if I fail? What if it doesn't work out? Like those are also pay attention that there that's not serving you, that's destructing or destroying. And so being able to activate all three parts, it's a game, it's a mastery, like, but you can't
And we
get to
have to practice it. That's why it's called a practice.
yes, yes.
Well, this has
I
just been so delightful to talk to you. At the Healing Institute, we do have a vision. We have created a community of expert health practitioners, and we customize whatever you need uniquely for you. It's not a one size fits all. All of our practitioners have a 30-minute complimentary introduction information session. So please let them know and connect with them and talk to them about what it is. We want to make sure that it's a good fit for everybody. Uh, and our motto is service with love. So that's good for our February Love Month theme. But we also have a big ask. Please let your community let your friends, let your family know about the Healing Institute and about our wonderful, fabulous holistic practitioners and the fabulous work that they do. So you got to meet again another amazing practitioner, Zabdi Love. Thank you, Zabdi, again for being on the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. You're amazing. Keep shining your light. You're so beautiful.
I will. Thanks again. Okay.
Thank you. Bye.